Good evening, folks. Alex here. This evening I'm going to be working on some tunes in Ableton, some joggle tunes in Ableton. I'm going to be listening back to the previous bounces I made from the sessions I was working in, and I am going to make some notes if necessary, and then I'm going to jump into the session and make the changes, which is kind of the process that I rinse and repeat every time I work on music. This first track that I'm going to listen back to is called Hypnotise, and I've worked on this tune a lot on stream. I think I've tagged up all the videos that feature it. I've got the set open already, so I'm going to jump in now. We'll give it a play so we can hear what we're working with. Not that one. Lol. Okay. Very nice. Huh. Yeah, this is oh, just here again. Don't know why. Here we go. Yeah, this is Hypnotise. Give it a listen. Coda loop. Code loop. Oh crap. It's not going well today. Hopefully my stream health is alright. Looks a bit low this evening. Internet's been a bit crap, so. Okay. Yeah, so that was Hypnotise, and that is the process that I do for, or this is the start of the process for every tune when I'm going to work on it, which is I listen back to the bounce in full. I don't do it in the session so that I don't mess with. I'm not tempted to kind of stop and mess with it, and I think because of the process of exporting, that what the kind of processing that's applied when that happens, it always ends up sounding slightly different anyway when you export it. And it's good because you can, if you've got a good kind of syncing system set up, like I have, everything is saved on Dropbox. I can just listen to it anywhere, and I can send it to people if I want their opinion, or from my phone. I would highly recommend having a system like that if you don't already. Some way that you can just access your music wherever you are, particularly full exports of tracks rather than just project files you can't listen back to. So that was Hypnotise. There's just one little double snare here at about 1 minute 32 that I changed last time, and it just keeps catching my ear, and I think I preferred it how it was. So I'm just going to be explicit with that double snare change back previous. Also something about making notes away from working in the session. At the end, to clean up, because my intention is that I will send this. I've got my eyes on potentially releasing this, or it's been there's potential that this might get a release, and so I just want a nice clean WAV that I can send to people and that I can send to DJ friends and stuff like that at this point. So that's Hypnotise. I'm going to listen to Look Ahead as well, which is another one that I definitely started on stream and I've worked on quite a lot recently. I thought it'd be good to work on these two this evening because they're very close to being finished, and it will be the kind of first or the second time I've kind of started tracks on stream and I'm now finishing them. So to kind of show everyone the full process live of how I make music, because that's really my kind of primary aim with the channel, is that I want it to be just an unfiltered look at making tunes, and they happen to all be jungle at the moment, but that's not always the case. So this is Look Ahead. We'll listen to this. We'll do the same process, and then I'm going to jump into Hypnotise because I reckon I can do that quickly. Maybe we can get two tunes kind of done and dusted for want of a better term, or at least done and dusted for this evening, and certainly to send out to people. Hey Doms. Okay, that delay at the end, too long. The only other note I made was delay on the break in the intro, but I'm not sure if I'm just going mad because I've listened to it too much, which is definitely a thing. But for like all intents and purposes, I think that track is finished. Like that's certainly as finished as it can be at this moment in time. I don't think you're ever really quite sure. You know, there's always something you could do. There's always something you could change. There's always some way you think you could make it better. You got to be careful. You just don't end up rewriting the whole thing and ruining a good thing. Just aren't doing. See you guys. Yeah, so let's jump into Hypnotise anyway. So the notes I made on that were just the first thing I do is I'm going to save a version. This is like something to do on everything. If anyone has any questions at any point, I'm always happy to answer those on stream. And while I remember, I would just like to give a shout out to all my Patreon supporters and people who support me on there. That's helpful, especially at the moment with a fuel crisis in Britain, world over really. So much appreciated to my patrons. Interested, or everything is in the description. Support the channel. Okay, 22, 10, 7. And this is the track. So it's not too big, 16 channels, which is kind of like that to me, you know, that feels like a pretty good amount. It's certainly the less stuff you've got going on in a tune, the easier it is to mix and the easier it is to kind of make it bang. So it's just that tiny little snare here, about 130. So it's about here. Yeah, so I think I had it these little hits before the cymbals. Nice if we had a reverse snare. Maybe I'll add that in quickly. That might be good for me. I've got one already. This. Duplicate this, right, I'll put this at the end. That's at the bottom. Now reverse, I'm going to pull this little guy along. And I am just reverse. Turn off this sustain mode. And I'm just that reverse everything. Go. Yes, it does. Reverse everything. So maybe, okay, I can't, like, maybe in the spirit of won't do that. I think that what about mastering? We got any mastering going on? Okay, yeah, because mix-wise, I'm pretty happy with it. Maybe that would be useful for people to see that then, for me to do a quick master on this. Because if this is good, then I'm just gonna send it out. So before I do that, I just want to see what it's like right at the end. Want to tidy up all the. Hopefully my mic's not too loud, but let me know if it is. Just tidy up the ending here, make sure there's nothing hanging over. so I think we want like a fade out here. Just that there, fade out. The way I do that is to just put a utility on the master channel after the mastering. And want the fade out to happen like here, like this. There are other effects going on here, so all right. That's probably good enough for the moment. It's kind of a bit. If you're sending tunes to people, you want them to be as professional as possible, or like at least to have. I don't know. This is quite an interesting question, really. Like, if the idea is really strong and you're doing something really original, then I think people can listen past stuff like not having fades at the end of your tunes, not having them cut properly. But it's a nice touch. All right, that's probably okay. So I'm going to pull in my. Doing a lot of mixing work recently for people, and so I've been. Say I've kind of created my own mastering chain. I do this periodically, kind of upgrade or tweak my effects racks and things that I use time and time again. And this has just got everything I'm really into at the moment on the master chain. And if this tune gets a release, it will get mastered separately. So I'll just be able to turn this off and send it over. But for now, and in case I want to send it to other people to vibe with, gonna want to be loud enough that people could maybe play it in a club, or it will kind of stand up against other tunes. So I have here, already do this, because I did a mix of this. I've done a mix of this before. I've got the reference track in here, which is like another bounce of the tune. And I can just kind of see where the loudest points are. So this is pretty good. I'm just going to loop it here, and we're going to. I'll just talk you through my mastering chain. So I have a pre-game stage, a mastering series of processors. This is just so that I can adjust the overall gain before it goes into mastering, so I can switch the mastering on and off. And it's not including any gain adjustments I've done because the track's perhaps. By that I mean I might drop the gain a bit, you know, just to run through the plugin chain. Turn the mastering chain on. I have a utility, and I use that for the bass mono. I have an EQ8. The bass mono function kind of collapses everything below a certain frequency threshold that you can set to mono, and I'll go through that. I'll show you how that works. There's also an EQ8. I have the Focusrite console. It's actually a channel strip, and I've just been trying that out because it's got some kind of nice sounding EQ parts on it. I've got a EQ by Sound Toys. Again, because this is a fixed band thing. The Focusrite is sweeping EQ, so it goes through multiple. It can go through multiple. What was I going to? It can go through. You can sweep it through different frequencies, where it's fixed frequency on the CQ, and that can be quite nice sometimes because you don't necessarily want a load of options and to be second guessing yourself. I think you could hear the difference between Look Ahead and Hypnotise when I played them earlier. Look Ahead definitely has had some more mastering on it, and I think you can hear that. I've also got another EQ, and I tend to use this in mid-side mode, so that's just so I can EQ the stereo content. On every mix I do, I have a mono and a side switch, so I can go between mono. That's mono. That's full stereo, and I can just have the stereo content. And this can sometimes be good for just tidying the stereo up a bit. Getting rid of the really low frequencies. Sometimes you can boost the highs a little bit more in a... People do that sometimes, I've seen that done. I don't do that very often. Yeah, but just to get rid of the very low stuff. Then I have the Shadow Hills mastering compressor, which I'm really digging at the moment. I think it sounds amazing if used judicially and not over applied. The glue compressor, I'll often use these in series because I think you get different things from different compressors, and I like to add kind of differing degrees of each. And then I have a choice of saturation plugins. I tend to be opting for the black box and by Analog Design, which is Brainworks Plugin Alliance plugin, because I think again it just sounds really nice. Thanks to Doms for pointing out the in-out saturation for me this evening. I didn't realise about that before, and I've been using it a lot since. It's also got these kind of like a dual stage distortion, an air section. And it just sounds really good. I think it sounds a bit nicer than the Decapitator, but we can compare them side by side. So I like to look at the key of the track. I think this is in G or F. F. Tends to be the first note. The first note of the drop will give you the key. That's a broad rule of thumb. Not always that straightforward. So I have saved on my on Google this kind of frequency tuning table, and you can see F, like the lowest kind of or the lowest audible pitch of F is 20 Hertz. F as we call it. I mean, these are all just arbitrary names really for these frequencies. Pitch is a perception phenomena, really, you know, just how we order frequencies as being kind of F being distinct to G. It has this difference in frequency, but then we might be looking at this kind of slightly higher F, which is the kind of thing that's probably where our sub's going to sit. So 43.65, we could probably see that spectral analyzer. We just look at the spectrum analyzers. There's our F there. You see the fundamental of the sine of the Reese. So what I'm gonna do is look to tune this to. I'm gonna go a bit higher than that. I'm gonna double the frequency, so it's gonna be like 80, so that we're covering kind of up to the second harmonic of the Reese, 87. You know, this is broad. So I also engage my ears. I don't just do the maths. And we'll just turn it off so low. You know, like you could put it here. So it's a subtle effect if audible at all, but it will safeguard against too much stereo stuff happening in the bass region, in the sub bass region, if you're playing it on a club sound system where it might be claps to mono in the sub, and it should give you a tighter sub response, a more impactful sub frequency hit. Then I tend to just low pass, or high pass rather, about 30, just tend to leave that as it is. Then I might go in my fixed CQ and just do some broad moods first. So a bit of a high gain boost. Jungle tends to be quite scooped. So by scooped, I mean the mid-range tends to be quite low. So we could do it with, I kind of mean around this area. That's way too extreme, but just to demonstrate. So I find that for kind of jungle, the 0.7 kilohertz, 700 hertz is pretty good. I mean, you want some of that woof, which is what it is. You know, too much. Boost that high a little bit more. Pull that high gain down. I don't really like to do too much hard EQing really in the mastering stage. There may be something about 160, some fixed bands the EQs have. Now, some people say not to sweep across like that, and I think you probably get more from cutting, hearing what the cut does. Move that low part of that high pass down a bit. That's just the EQ. We'll listen to that with it on and off. On, off. What's the gain, the comparison? making minor adjustments here. Okay, we've got the side EQ. Adjusted the gain slightly on that. So that's on, off. Yeah, I think that's sounding pretty good so far. I like what it's doing, those EQs. That's probably fine for now. So I'm going to go onto the mastering, onto the compression stage. Generally, I like to go, EQ, sculpting, compression, saturation. And that gives me good masters that I can play out and send to people and they like, and it works. And I refine the process a bit. My ears get better with each kind of go at doing stuff like this. It's really good if you can mix other people's music. But I would, seeing as most tunes don't make it to a mix down stage, I'd certainly just try and finish music you don't even like, just so you can get lots of practice mixing it, trying to make it sound good, because you learn a lot from making loads of crap mixes. So I like the optical compressor on the Shadow Hills mastering compressor. It has like a dual stage compressor, so I think you can have dual mono or stereo. The dual mono, I think you can. I honestly don't know how that works, whether you can compress it in series. I should try that one time, but I know the stereo works and I kind of like the sound that I'm getting from it. It's got this kind of, it's almost like I don't know if it is a saturation or some kind of colouring that you can change here from nickel to iron and steel. Kind of just like nickel. I'm gonna apply the sidechain filter on this compressor. Now this is a tip I saw on Instagram from, I can't remember which producer it was. But again, I'm gonna look to sidechain, probably like where our fundamental of our lowest of our bass hit was. The idea being here that the bass, which takes up a lot of headroom in terms of if you look at the kind of the amplitude of the bass around here. It's the loudest thing in the track, and the idea being if you sidechain filter, so you I guess it's almost like applying a high pass filter before the compression stage. It's probably not the same concept as like what most people understand as sidechaining. I'm not sure, but maybe you can go deeper in this plugin. But it kind of applies a high pass filter to the signal, and the compression is only being triggered by frequency content above that threshold, and that means that the drums are kind of driving the compressor. So you'll see this happening on the needle. My tip is just to kind of apply it until you think it's too heavy, and then just dial it back to a sweet spot where you can hear it working nicely. Like something like that. But if you didn't have this sidechain filter on, you'll see what will happen. It's being hit quicker, but it's being hit more by the bass. So you see we're losing gain there now, so if I turn this off, There's our look at where our RMS is floating. So I've got about 2 dB of gain reduction. I'm going to look to kind of increase that now. So we want to bring the meter up back to a -18. That's without with okay, cool. I kind of like that, so I'm going to actually just dial it in so we've got some parallel compression. You know, somewhere like that, 40%. Now I'm going to look to apply the glue compressor, and I'm going to be again watching the needle and kind of watching it move rhythmically with the tune. I think I'm going to do the same again with the high pass with the kind of sidechain EQ. Adjusting that attack, so it's a bit slower on moving up, you know. Got really heavy compressed signal, like go like there, yeah. Just adjusting the gain back up to the -18 there. Right, that's way too much compression, but it can sound pretty good when you've just got a small amount of dry wet applied. That's our mastering so far. If we can A and B it. That's before. That's after. Before, after, yeah, that's sounding cool. Pile up a bit more of this. Another thing I like to do is I like to keep the volume quite quiet. I find you can hear compression better at lower volumes. That's the mastering Shadow Hills compressor. Just upped it a bit. Yeah, I think that's pretty sick. That's just pull that mid gain down a touch as well. Nice. So that's with it on, off. On, off. So what I'm hearing is that you've got a bit more high frequency, probably because of this high gain boost on the CQ, along with a bit of a cut in the kind of mid range that's cleaning things up a bit, and perhaps they don't sound as woolly. So this would listen to the kind of lower mid range, like the yeah. I think this cleans things up nicely, this CQ. I think over time I'll probably get more confident with my EQ application and perhaps go a bit more bold with stuff. Like, I'm sure there's kind of I mean, this is the area where but too much of anything and you kind of just notice like gaps in it. It might sound hollow, or it might sound weak in the bass, or it might sound too bright and it might sound too harsh. You know, they kind of all occupy these different areas of the frequency spectrum. And I just think with practice over time you just get better at hearing them. And I would say like less is more, like in mastering, or at least I've found that from my experience. So you don't want to go too heavy-handed on anything. If you like, as soon as you can hear it, dial it back a bit. That's my tip. So we've got the decapitator. We could have a listen to this. I like E. Let's start on that E mode. So that's just with it. That's off. On. So you can hear the saturation. It's adding a bit just from like that, you know. Might want to push it a bit. Where's too much? Where's too much? Right, and then I might just want to dial it in. Trying the EQ out here. But again, too much like messing around with a bit. Like, if you're in doubt, keep it simple. That's the decapitator. Let's try the black box. So that's very heavy-handed, like, and I'm really looking just to kind of sculpt it and dial in the kind of the sound of the saturation I want, you know. Nice. Got a bit of gain added here. I'm going to pull that down. You can see it here. Watch the RMS. Very slight. Nice. Watch that output. Dial that back a bit. So that's with our mastering. We'll do an A/B now. On, off, on, off. I like that. That's certainly good enough for me. Now I'm heading to limiting. I have 3 limiters here. The kind of pseudo-science potentially behind it is that hey steer. The pseudo-science is that the limit, like that you shave off a bit each time and that you're not asking any one limiter to do too much heavy lifting. It seems to work. I can get things a bit louder with less distortion happening as quickly. Whether like if there are any mastering engineers, Nick Huber 1965 tends to watch some of these streams, and he is actually a mastering engineer, so he's probably got some input on that. I doubt he'll watch this one after the fact, but maybe next time he's on, I can quiz him about that. I'm going to just turn it down now so that I don't deafen people. I have got maybe we should turn this final limiter on as a... No, that's okay, we'll keep this on. So I'm just going to turn this up until I can start seeing like that. Now I'm going to add some more here. A bit more of that, I think. We're almost like getting close to our peak value here. And now ozone. I just like the sound of the limiter on this one. I like the IRC2, seems a bit faster. I'm going to set the ceiling to minus 0.1 and I am just going to adjust the threshold until I can get it as loud as possible without distortion. And you'll hear it there. We don't want that. So I can tell that's plenty loud enough. We've got an RMS on the Voxengo span. The kind of RMS of anything above minus 10, minus 16 or minus 12, I think it is, will be loud enough for you to play and it not just be super quiet. That does sound a bit distorted to me now. together. Just in the saturation here. Okay, I think that sounds pretty good. I've not really made any musical changes, it's just been doing that mastering. So just listen back to it now. Sick, yeah, that's great. Cool, I'm going to export that now. To where is the fader on the master control? This. So I'll export it like here. Just move this and export. And this is quite nice. If you just put in the number 247, be doubly sure that you're the right bit. And some probably just going to put in a gap here, just so that we can export it from slightly before there. Type 0.44. I know some people like to work on their tunes like this. So all's good. Check you're not in mono. Yeah. Right. Nothing soloed. That's really annoying. And I am going to for audio video. I'm going to set this master. Cancel that. Go here. See our little markers. 4.4. 4. 247. And we are going to have code. I am going to do a WAV. This is 24-bit, and I'm going to do PAL as the diver. I'm also going to make an MP3 just so it's quicker to listen to on the move, and I'm going to export that. I'll just turn back on my camera. Yes, Nick, I am. 1950, Cuba 1956, as in the Cuban Missile Crisis. Yeah, mastering it for sending out and about, not like. Well, I don't. But I was going to say not like professionally mastering it, but a quick master, a quick tired master to send on to people. But yes, I was. I'm glad you're here actually, because I was just asked. I was just thinking about, like, what are your thoughts on stacking limiters? If you're still there, as we have a mastering engineer in the chat. It's something that I saw and that feels like it allows me to get a touch more gain without distortion. Is that true? I'll just let this export, and I am going to quickly do the second track because I said I was going to work on 2. Feels like. I will also be back on stream tomorrow. I got some presents from Mr. Ned Rush, from the new MIDI waves and the Lucky 16. I'm going to write some music with those, I think, tomorrow. I did want to work on a track with Alien samples in tonight from the Alien films that I'd started like a couple of years ago, and I couldn't get the project file to download properly from the archive, so I don't know if Nick's still on. Nick, if you're there, stacking limiters, what are your thoughts? Good, bad, the ugly? So just to recap, I go EQ, mastering. I hope not. What do you think? For doing that, was I turning knobs like a trained dog? Oh, possibly. I don't know. It's been shit tonight. The internet. If you're there, stacking limiters, shaving off a bit each time. One of the Nick and I met on Ned Rush's Compress It Like an Idiot, the first one, which is about mastering, and Nick is a mastering engineer based in Latvia, and he kind of saved my life a bit over the idea of loudness penalty and worrying about mastering tracks differently for different platforms, and not really having to worry about it because music in a similar genre will be penalised just as much as your track would be. Cool. Thanks, man. Yeah, so if you're looking for mastering advice, tips, I'd check that Compress It Like an Idiot out. Because Nick and Aaron, another mastering engineer that Ned had on, are extremely knowledgeable and go into like great detail about it. And Nick shared some sick plugins in the comments as well that I finally downloaded recently. I'll use them at some point. Cool. Do you find there's any noticeable stacking limiters? Is fine to me. I use hardware and software limiter on top. What like do you find that they're like? Would it be true that you'd be able to get a touch? Because essentially limiting's like brick wall compression, isn't it? It's like a compression, like a compressor with infinite ratio, or and that you're able to kind of potentially push the loudness a little more by stacking or adding in what's the word I'm looking for? Like small increments across different limiters. Because each time you're kind of you're shaving off the very loudest parts. Could be beyond the scope of this, but it's also very useful because I can't remember if I started this track on stream, but I've definitely worked on it a lot on stream, and now I'm finishing it on stream and sending it. I will be sending it to friends, out to labels, things like that, and it's kind of a really. I'd like to just keep doing this, rinse and repeat, write tunes, finish them on and do it all live, because it feels like that's really valuable for people to see someone actually doing that across the months, and it not taking me like 3 years to finish a track and send it to someone. So Look Ahead was the second one. And really, this is going to be very quick because I think I did some mastering with it and I like the sound of it. So I'm just gonna do this. I'm gonna get in and get out of this baby. I'm gonna spend longer than I need to in it. I'm not gonna mess around with it. I know what I need to do. Okay. Rather limit frequency a bit different. Also, I'd rather use a combination of compression and soft clipping. Okay. That feels beyond my knowledge, although I know that the glue compressor does that. And would you look to kind of apply heavy-handed compression with soft clipping, or would it just kind of be? Sorry, by that I mean like attack, quick release, small amount of gain reduction with the threshold, maybe a low threshold, and just looking to kind of get the peaks that are coming through. Put limiter and a clipper behind it. Okay. Now, a good clipper. I don't think I have a good clipper. Yeah, okay, we're in Look Ahead now, so we're just gonna. Any recommendations for clippers, Nick? I like the look of the Kazrog one. I have had my eyes on it for about 6 years. Okay. So are you saying limiter first in the chain and then decapitator, what, in just standard mode? That Kazrog, yeah. I tried it out once and it was pretty sick, to be honest. Made it fucking loud. Standard clip. Thanks, Doms. So this one, I just wanted the delay at the end too long. Okay, that's fine. We're just going to cut that now, and I'm just going to export that. And again, peeps, this is just for you to see Cradle to Grave, because I'll put the title of the tune in the stream description of VOD, and you can just, if you're watching this back years down the line, see how this tune, when I'm playing Glastonbury, you can see how the tune's made. Yeah, I'm just going to be lazy and fade out. Got some good stuff here from Cuba, 1956. Never used specifically decapitated, but the idea is that it clips your wave to one and one rather than changing dynamics. This means you will produce distortion. But to me, up to a certain point, some distortion. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Cool. And when you say behind it, you mean the limiter first in the processing? Or do you mean so that it goes through the distortion first? Thank you very much, Nick, for dispensing your knowledge on stream and sharing it for free with everybody. Okay, so I'm literally just going to put a fade on this and a bit here. We're going to do exactly the same thing for exporting. This is useful for people, maybe, because how often do you get to the stage with this, with your tunes, where you get to do this? And if anything, there's something about doing it on stream in front of people that kind of has made me feel less precious about stuff. Weirdly. Limiter, then a clipper. Okay. Okay, I get you. Right, so you limit as much as loud as you want to make it, and then you put just a decapitator or a clipper. So you put the okay. I'll try that next time. I tend not to like. If in mastering, I tend to just do it to send it to people, or if I am going to release it myself, which is I would still like to self-release music, definitely. But also, I don't like. I feel like I wouldn't want to miss the opportunity of a release with someone else who's got an audience and do promotion and stuff. Because it feels like it would be a more worthwhile opportunity than me just putting it out myself. At least at the moment. Maybe if the channel grows, there'll be more people wanting to hear the music, and I'll just be able to put it out. Let's go put fade on the automation. So I like to think where it's going to stop, where it's going to completely go. Probably like there, isn't it? So and then just quite there. Okay. Thanks, Nick. And I will just save completeness, save live set as. I'm actually really pleased with how this track has come out. The interesting thing about this tune is I can remember one of my patrons, Baldwin, actually came up with the title in the chat. So Baldwin, if you're watching this back afterwards, thanks a lot. It's actually it's a done tune. So that's what it's all about, isn't it? Really. That's always the main thing on my mind is like finishing music. More than anything else, more than like I just hope that my hope is that I demonstrate useful content in just making music, because to me that's what the purpose of all this stuff is, all the gear and all the tutorials we watch is to make songs, is to communicate emotional stuff through music. Yeah, yeah, absolutely, Nick. What is it, a Max one you've made? It's probably I don't know if I don't know. Yeah, so like how you said it. I can probably download it if you email it to me. It's humansynthetics@gmail.com, and that's available for everyone to see. Interested in one-to-one tuition or like that, that's the kind of email I operate from. I've still got your the there's a limiter on here as well. That's your limiting. These are yours, Nick. These ones. Not one of these, is it? I suppose not if it's. No, if it's. Um. Right. What Nick's doing. I'm pretty happy with this one. 1.4. 4. 2, 3, 1. Load it like that. Export it. Release. Way, that's like 2 tunes. Hey Benjamin, how are we? It is. How you doing, man? Normally you're in the checking in the morning, I think. Bit later this evening. Letting that bounce. Bin. I seem to just remember like despairing about sick. This sounds good. Right. Okay, I'm just gonna put you on wide shot. Me? Go. While I go into my email, so all my emails of Ned Rush. Sending me contraband, electronic contraband. See if that comes through. Humansynthetics is now live working on. Sent to humansynthetics@gmail.com. Nick, is that right? Ah, sick, thanks. Okay, taking a minute. If it's got an attachment. So yeah, that's that's two tunes. Let's see if I can. Someone commented on my last stream about Look Ahead with the original stream of it. So I think for these two tracks I'll put together a playlist, or I should put together a playlist of I think it would be more useful for people to have a playlist of each track, you know, but Look Ahead, Hypnotise, Amen Jungle, with all of the streams that I work on it across the months. Okay, that's bounced. I did get your tape one as well, Nick. Still need to use it. I can't get it. What I'll do is yes. No. Very gain compressor. Now, and then I'll come back on. Modelled it after a variable gain compressor I've had. It's a program-dependent compressor. It adapts the material. Similar to the Varimu compressors like SPL Iron or Manly Varimu. Dick, I've got it. I've got it. It's coming. Amazing. You made it in Max as well. Yeah, Ned sent me his. Ned sent me his Ned effects and the Lucky 16 and. Oh, this is exciting. What are you saying then? Follow it after variable gain compressor. Throw it next to the glue compressor. So we're saying afterwards, yeah? Oh! Lovely. I like the style. Really nice. So. So if I just start turning it up, we're going to get compression. Okay, yeah. With like a low pass as well, with a high pass filter. Yeah, cool. And that is the VU meter of the gate. Yeah, that sounds What do you think about side chaining on it? Yeah, no, that absolutely sounds delightful. Yeah, sick. Martian. Oh, can you? Have I got the screen back on, or am I just? Sorry, guys. Sorry, look, it's here. I was just saying how good it looked, and you weren't seeing it. This is the compressor Nick's talking about. I know. Sorry, guys. I'm just like getting into it. Ha ha. So I'm just catching up with the comments. Yeah. Okay, so we've got this the vary gain 0.8. Check out this cool like analog dial. This gain reduction meter. Let's set it back down again. So this is what are your thoughts on sidechain high pass filters? Because I kind of like to do that for the bass, Nick. So I've got this black box design after it, but maybe we could try the decapitator like you were saying. I've got the Shadow Hills mastering compressor before it, and I think the sub in this is where yeah, we're in F. So we're just in F for the last song, so like 100. Because I kind of like the sound that I get from doing that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, lovely. That sounds wicked. Flip her after the makeup game. Thank you. Limit more aggressive attack and recovery. Okay, cool. So Nick, as well, I've still got my final. It's like a free lesson in mastering. I've still got my limiting happening afterwards. But you like lovely, yeah, because I probably wouldn't go that heavy. I probably wouldn't go that heavy-handed on compression. Or at least that's what Capitate will sound much better. Don't use clip. Don't use clip. Yeah. Yeah, sick, man. That sounds good. I love the little visual as well. Yeah, great. Like what? Yes, I was gonna say I like the gentle. I like the gentle when it's gentle. That's that. Yeah, that sounds nice to my ears. Yeah, hearing more of the kind of the transient hit of the drums. So what would you say to like something like saturation after? Hey James, thanks a lot. What would you say to saturation after something like this, Nick? Would you tend to do it that way? Would you tend to go compression, saturation, limiting? Sorry, you're off the clock now. You're enjoying you're in your leisure time and you're just getting quizzed about work stuff. Cool. So do saturation first before EQing that. So this is my chain. Then to go EQ, mastering, saturation, limiting. Or yeah, I think that's what you mean, rather than saturating after each step. DSS saturation, pressure limiter. Or I'm gonna have to try. I'm gonna have to try this. I think I have to like experiment more with this. Because I remember you mentioning putting DSs on stuff. Okay, thank you. I'm gonna do that on the next master. I'm gonna try that out, and I will use the vary gain as well. DSR, saturation, EQ, compression, flipping, stick. So, I tend to like I like the saturation. Okay, thank you. Saturation is changing a response curve. You might want to EQ it afterwards. Yeah. Okay. Useful stuff. Because all of this is just stuff I've picked up from learning it myself and from kind of road testing it. It kind of works, but I'm always looking to learn, like, to improve it. And I think that's the kind of the main takeaway from any aspect of like music production. There's always things to learn. There's always ways to improve. Yeah, because this is just from my limited knowledge of all this stuff. So excellent to have you here, helping. Okay, yeah, we'll try that. We'll try that next time. I feel like I've kind of got this tune. I'll probably just leave it there because I've worked on this so much, and kind of like at that point where you're like, I just want to get it out the door now. Like, and I'm sure you'll agree with this. You know, you get to a certain point, and it's for me, it's more important to kind of just get it out there now. But that said, I have a load of old tunes that I want to revisit mix wise. All of these tunes that I are a bit older. Some of them were before I was streaming, but I really like them, and I kind of want to remix them or rejig them. I think it would be good stuff to demonstrate. Yeah, it does, because I believe, like, if it makes sense scientifically to me, like, that's the kind of that's the kind of stuff I love about mixing and mastering, is that there is science. There's a scientific reason for this stuff, and it is really all acoustics and coloration of sound through circuitry, as we talked about on that compress it like an idiot. Yeah, I don't know what's happening. I've just had poor stream health all evening, so sorry if it's a bit crap. I will probably call it an evening there, and just say thank you very much. Thank you very much to Cuba 1956 for all of like the wicked mastering advice and general input on the channel. Thank you, and check out that Compress It Like an Idiot, where it's a really deep dive into all of this stuff. Some really good things are thrown at Nick and Aaron in that. So Yeah, but I've bounced this now. I would show you uploading it, but like I don't think people really want to see that. I'm just going to upload it to SoundCloud, send it as a private link. If anyone wants them, email me at humansynthetics.com. Yeah. Cuba 1956, whatever gets you there. It's just the way I learned to use it. Yeah. Cheers, Benjamin. Nice to see you again, man. Don't be a stranger. But yeah, I'll say good evening, folks. Have a great Friday night, a great Saturday, and I will. Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. I'm going to write some music tomorrow. So, cheers.